already did that intro before, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, folks. I'm trying not to be original now. Apparently, the truth is, I really just have nothing.
Yeah. You're all out.
Yeah, I'm
You're
all out.
Out of ideas.
It's been an incredibly just eventful week for nothing happening. Like, it's weird. Like, looking back on this week, it's like nothing happened, but yet for some reason I feel like everything happened all at once.
Like Serve Pro, like it never even happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Serve Pro is our new sponsor at Accelerativ Thrust.
Now, what is Surf Pro? Am I supposed to
I'm
know
glad
what
you
this is?
asked.
Okay.
This is the commercial.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So advertise it.
When your house burns down or catches on fire or floods or stinks from your stinky pets or friends, Serve Pro will come in and clean it and make it better, and that's what they do.
So if there's like a tragedy or something, they come and help that.
Yeah,
like...
they come and mostly hide bodies.
Oh, okay.
And help clean up blood, things like that.
Do they get spirits out of possessed people?
As far as I can tell, their slogan is like it never even happened. So it has to apply to every scenario you could imagine, I would guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
This sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great company. I'm glad that they're supporting our show now.
So that's great.
Yeah.
So you guys heard it first. See, now when you said Surf Pro, I thought it was a surfing company.
Oh, Surf Pro. No, that's different.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
But you know what? We should also get sponsorship from like a surfing company too while we're at it.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So, well, like a company that does tragedies and a company that specializes in surfing.
Yeah.
So any
Mr. Zog's Surf Wax. Sex Wax is what it's called.
Dude, now is that a real thing or are you just making it up? Because if that's a real thing,
it's true.
Okay, it is true. All right. Like I've never heard of that, but that's amazing. So we gotta
Yeah.
Forget everything
Mr.
else.
Zog's Sex Wax and Serve Pro.
Sex
are
Wax
our new
and
sponsors.
Sex Wax. Okay, so it's Sex Wax. Not
Wax.
Surf. I thought it was Surf Wax.
Well, it is. They just call it that because.
Okay, Surf and Sex
cool.
Wax. So basically, we're gonna get sponsored by a lot of things. We're on it. This is actually like what our number one goal in life is now, Eric.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and get sponsorships for this podcast from everything. But okay, so going back to the whole spirits leaving bodies and or spirits going into bodies.
Yeah.
So I've been watching a lot of John Carpenter this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet you didn't know that.
What what is the transition? What John Carpenter spirits and bodies movie did you watch?
Well, okay. So this is the list of movies. I'll list off the movies so far because I've watched a bunch of them. I was trying. There are John Carpenter movies that I of course have seen. Like I've seen They Live, which is a classic.
Yeah.
Both Escape from New York and Escape from L.A. I've seen at some point.
Yeah.
And Halloween, of course. You know, pretty much all the Halloween movies I've seen at one point in my life. Pretty much everything else I haven't seen. So the ones that and this is kind of maybe a shocker to some people, but also I wasn't really, I gather from talking to you, Eric, about horror movies. I wasn't as big into horror movies growing up. But I like horror movies a lot. Like I've always liked Nightmare on Elm Street, Creepshow, things like that. But The Thing, I've never seen The Thing before.
Oh God, did you watch it?
I did. That was one of the first ones I watched.
What an amazing film!
Absolutely fantastic. And then I realized. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say I realized more and more that I actually really liked Kurt Russell as an actor in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like he was just, I don't know. There was something, because one of my favorite movies from the 80s is Tango and Cash.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which I don't know if you remember that one. It's one of those action cop movies.
I'm sure I saw it, but I don't remember much about
A
it.
lot of outdated references. But anyway, so you were going to say something about The Thing, and something tells me you know more about it than I do.
No, I don't know much more about it. It was a remake of the... I think the original was just called The Thing from Another Planet or something like that. Same general idea, but without really as much of an emphasis on showing the monster, which The Thing is one of the few movies out there that has the setup of like a classic horror movie, but they show you the monster as well. And what a monster it is. Like, it is. I think The Thing is personally one of my favorite practical effects movies of all time. There are things in that where you seriously can't figure out how they did it. And it's so fast and so convincing. There's not 1 second in that movie that you're like, oh yeah, I'm watching a movie. Like, you're just there, and everything they show you, you believe. And it's the effects are just outrageous. They're mind-blowing. So yeah, I love The Thing so much.
Yeah, and I was immediately just like transported to when we were having like negative 20 below weather.
Yeah, right.
I mean, because that's what it felt like just watching it.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's a good movie as well as being an effects masterpiece. Like,
sure,
it has that same general like McCarthyism sort of like. There's a Twilight Zone episode called "The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street," which follows the same idea that like your neighbors or your friends or the people you're with are now possibly something else, and you don't know who is and who isn't, and no one trusts each other. It follows that same sort of story. So yeah, I always find that interesting too, because we all should be really nervous around other humans. I mean, just to be safe, right?
Yeah, no, it absolutely it does touch on. I wasn't thinking about it when I was watching it, but yeah, it really does touch on, like the whole idea that like, like your best friend could one day become, your enemy. Like I hate, I can't think of a better way to like, or at least you're going to be like fighting for the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, and that is, like you said, safety.
Right.
Because this thing, it invades the science laboratory that they're all sort of in, and that doctor goes crazy. My favorite scene was when Kurt Russell forces them all to take blood samples.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we're going to find out who the thing is, because they all think that he's the thing.
Right.
And when he drops the blood into that one character's, or he does
puts
the
hot
reaction.
metal.
Yeah, he puts
blood.
the hot metal, and then
God.
that's the one that it ends up being the thing. Oh my God, that was
It's
like,
amazing. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's
if you don't jump when that happens, you're dead.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
there's no way around it.
Exactly. That's like, I was just gonna say that. Honestly, a lot of those like parts of horror movies, I don't jump. I don't really do a lot of like, oh my God, you know what I mean?
Right.
But that part I did, because I wasn't expecting it. And even though it seems like, when you think about it, it seems like the most obvious thing to happen during that, it's still somehow they made it like almost impossible to predict at that moment.
Yeah, it's a great movie for building tension. That's what it relies on. And a lot of movies work that way, but this one sets up a ton of tension and then delivers exactly what you're terrified of. And that's pretty cool,
Absolutely.
Yeah. What other ones did you watch?
Okay, so I watched In the Mouth of Madness.
Oh, hell yeah.
That was a great
movie.
one. And then I also watched one of perhaps my favorite one, actually. I mean, it was between either The Thing or this, was Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, Prince of Darkness is
I
pretty good.
love that movie. And I've never seen it, so I can now say that I love that movie. Like,
I haven't seen it in a long time. I need to revisit that one too.
It's fantastic.
Is that the cult in the basement?
It's
thing?
the one where No, well,
no, that's a different.
No,
movie.
that's a different
that's
one.
Lord of Illusion.
Okay.
I always get them mixed up.
This one was about like there's this college professor that brings like some of his students to like a church because they're trying to investigate like this I don't know, there's like some spirit or something that is, and like there's a bunch of these like Alice Cooper is in it.
Oh, so okay, it is the one where there's like a church.
Yeah, there's like a church.
Like a slime demon or something.
Yeah.
No, I totally don't remember.
It's not a slime demon. It's more like a slime demon. Do you seriously remember it though?
I guess I don't. I thought it had something to do with slime in a church basement, but I guess not.
Well, it's they're like zombies. Like Alice Cooper is like this homeless zombie that's possessed by this like spirit type thing, and then it ends up being like
they end up like real life.
Yeah, just like real life, exactly. They end up basically. I'm horrible at like explaining like movies after I see them, so I could be like fucking some stuff up, but like it basically like I don't want to really say too much more because anytime I do that, I get yelled at for like spoiling shit. So,
oh wow,
like because I always do. I always like the way that I always explain things is I always like say like what happened at the end. You know what I mean? And then it's like, well, now I don't want to watch the movie, Dan.
Yeah, and then the giant ship sank.
But the only thing you need to know,
Spoiler.
Eric,
yes.
and I would recommend. Do you have like Amazon Prime or anything like that?
Yeah.
Do you ever rent movies from Amazon Prime? Okay, so I'm sure this is on Amazon Prime, Prince of Darkness. And
nice.
The only thing that I really know about it is that it's got Alice Cooper in it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it also looks like Donald Pleasance is in it, too.
Donald Pleasance. Basically the same dudes from the other movie that I watched, Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, which is,
movie.
I've actually seen that one, but I hadn't seen it since probably I was a kid. And it's probably between that or They Live or Escape from New York. That's probably my favorite John Carpenter movie.
Yeah.
Like, those are my three, like, favorite ones, probably.
It's really a fun movie, The Big Trouble.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And that is, like, the epitome of, like, the Kurt Russell character in the 80s, too. Like, I feel like the Tango and Cash, he had, like, this weird, like, sort of, every movie he was in was this, like, weird sort of macho, hilarious guy,
Yeah.
Like, and he was always doing something like driving a truck.
Oh, yeah.
Or something, you know what I mean? Like, it's like Wolverine in the X-Men, Like,
now, in Big Trouble, is there a scene where a dead cow walks out of a freezer? Is that the right movie?
I don't recall it, but it's very possible.
Oh, okay.
Because I did get up a few times, like, and kept the movie going and didn't think to pause it. So maybe it happened
I was
during
thinking
one of those.
of a different movie.
I'm trying to think.
They're all the same to me. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember. Honestly, like, but I mean, in any situation, I enjoyed every single one of these movies.
Actually, I believe that might have been Dead Heat. I'm sorry, with Joe Piscopo.
Okay, so, Dead Heat,
yeah,
which I haven't seen. No, that's all right. But okay, so I still have They Live to revisit, which I've seen that movie several times. I love that movie. And then I also what's the other one? Village of the Damned, I think.
Oh,
or is that
a
John Carpenter movie?
I don't know.
Okay, I think it's called Village of the Damned. And then I'm going to move on because the reason why I'm watching all this stuff is because they actually have it, believe it or not, all at the Musser Public Library.
Oh, okay.
So cool. I don't have to pay for it on Amazon Prime. They also have the new Twin Peaks, which you've recommended to me.
Yes.
On DVD. So I was like,
cool.
Cool. I don't have to pay for
Showtime. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to get Showtime, and they also have the new Watchmen series, which I've been wanting to see.
Cool.
So
wow, you're all set up.
I've got a lot of stuff to watch, and then they also had Twin Peaks Fire Walk with me too.
Nice.
So I was like, you know what? I haven't seen that forever. So
honestly, I think that might be that might still be my favorite installment of the Twin Peaks series. Is Fire Walk with Me?
It is fantastic.
Yeah, it just checks all the boxes kind of for me. So, yeah.
Now, I had heard that was actually technically supposed to be the pilot, wasn't it?
I don't know. It's a prequel to the whole series.
Okay.
But I don't know about the pilot.
I had heard that
I don't know.
Fire Walk with Me was supposed to be the pilot. And then I think, from what I understand, the network thought it was too weird or something. And so David Lynch and whoever he was working with at the time had to like rewrite a pilot to make it more suitable for like network TV, as suitable as David Lynch is going to make something.
Yeah. And Mark Frost is the other writer.
Yeah, Mark Frost.
I guess I don't know. I know that the pilot was a little goofy. They put stuff at the end of the pilot. I don't think it aired here, but the original pilot that aired overseas had like Killer Bob and stuff in it, and like all these giveaway things. And so I think that's been a point of weirdness for a long time, the pilot itself versus when the series actually starts and stuff. So
yeah, it's almost like you don't need to really watch the pilot.
No,
like, because
I don't even think it was I don't even think it aired here. I don't know that for sure, but
I think it did. But I do know that the original DVD box set didn't even have it.
Right. Yeah, the pilot was a separate thing you could buy back in the day. So
yeah, it definitely was a mindfuck for sure.
Yeah,
like,
but you will. I think you'll like The Return. It's, I don't know. We should just talk about it after you've watched it. How's that sound?
That would be awesome. Have you watched the Watchmen series?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay. So I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I'm excited about that one.
Nice. I've heard good things too. I just sometimes it's hard to get into something that has a lot of episodes and stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
It's daunting, I think.
Like,
so.
I'll be honest, I really hope I actually get through the Twin Peaks.
Well, just imagine you're watching 18 little David Lynch movies. That's,
yeah,
it's 18 hours of Twin Peaks. So I mean, you do have to be ready.
Absolutely. Well, I've made it through 30 with the first series, so
yeah. So
and I enjoyed every second of it, especially that song we talked about.
Oh man, it's the best.
Yeah.
I love that song. Anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of songs.
Yeah, should we talk about some music?
Yeah, we listened to a lot of songs this week, didn't we?
For sure.
Yeah. So, you want to go first this week, Eric?
Right. Sure. I'll start with project called DIVTECH. My bandmate and friend Dolly told me about it, and I liked it. It was unlike anything that I've heard. I mean, specifically like anything I've ever heard. So thought I should talk about it. DIVTECH. The release is called Stasis Confines Action Conditions. Came out in 2016. I don't know anything about this artist. I know that Dolly also told me about a group called Decide Today, which was sort of similar. And they are label mates with DIVTECH and have done some splits with them. But otherwise, I seriously don't know anything about DIVTECH at all. Who they are, where they're from, anything. So, and I tried to find that information, but didn't. So anyway, DIVTECH is basically hardcore. It's like hardcore vocals, like maybe like Converge or Norma Jean, or maybe it's because I'm more familiar with Modern Life is War. but I hear a similar vocal style there. Musically, it moves around like hardcore to an extent. There are guitars and drums, but really what makes this interesting is that it's basically constructed like industrial or electronic music. A lot of like Alec Empire, Kid 606, Ministry, maybe even Venetian Snares or Aphex Twin to a certain extent as far as some of the things that happen. But it's very noisy, very glitchy, a lot like, digital hardcore, like Alec Empire stuff. And yeah, so it starts out and it seems pretty obvious what's happening with the first couple tracks. It's like, okay, this is pretty much hardcore music made electronically with hardcore vocals. But then as it goes on, it kind of changes, and not really necessarily slowly. It doesn't like evolve over time necessarily. It's more that just like these longer bits of noise and sound start to happen in between the screaming and the sort of hardcore music, and until eventually about halfway through the record it kind of just turns into industrial glitch music and kind of finishes out almost I don't know, I don't want to say ambient because it is definitely not. It is noisy, but it loses all of its song structure and sort of does just turn into noise. So I really enjoyed it, and I would say that without that electronic sort of construction element of it, this would be way too past the aggro level on my dial. I don't really listen to that kind of stuff. It's just like not really my thing. But the fact that it was like industrial and constructed like electronic and industrial, it made all the difference for me. So I ended up really liking it, and if I ever needed to get wound up and revved up about something, I would think about putting this on. So yeah, what'd you think, Dan?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this a lot. There really isn't much that I can add to everything that you said, Eric, because you're pretty much right on the money with how I would describe it. I heard elements, definitely, like you mentioned, Alec Empire, digital hardcore. The music, especially the first half of the album, I would say, really reminded me of like Atari Teenage Riot musically. But like you said, and this was actually one of the specific things that stood out to me compared to the rest of the digital hardcore, is the vocals sounded more traditional hardcore than like, say, an Alec Empire an Atari Teenage Riot. Like, because Alec Empire, Atari Teenage Riot is more of a shouting thing, sort of. Whereas this is like a dude who, well, I think it's a dude who's doing screaming. And it sounds like there's maybe like a level of, like train screaming. You know what I mean? Like it sounds like this is a guy who maybe screamed for metal bands before or something like that. And definitely Modern Life is War and Converge were the first two bands that I thought of, or even like Dillinger Escape Plan or something like that. Yep. There was even elements of Mike Patton that I heard, but I also heard, as you mentioned later on, I started to hear, elements of like, some Ministry or something like that, some industrial and some like, breakbeat stuff and things like that. And it was just a really great, angry, dark sounding record. I think it was exactly what it set out to be, which is, basically like just a really good digital hardcore record with metal vocals. And I think that's kind of what made it stand out from the rest of the bands that usually do this style of music for me, is that, it had more metal vocals than what you normally hear in this kind of music.
For sure. Yeah.
It's great.
One thing that I also would add is that even though this is electronic music, their entire aesthetic and their label mates and label aesthetic is like crass style, anarcho crust kind of thing. And so I think that is also, I mean, I know aesthetics shouldn't make that much of a difference on how you perceive music, but it does. And so I think that if I had to guess, this isn't music that gets played at clubs. This is music that takes place at hardcore shows. And so I think that's also pretty cool that they would get up there and do this stuff at, like a hardcore show. I think they would be met with some resistance, and I think that's really cool. So, yeah, sorry to interrupt you. But
no, absolutely, and I definitely can hear and see the you mentioned crass. I could definitely see that sort of old school, like punk rock sort of vibe.
Yeah.
Also kind of melding with like digital hardcore type stuff.
Right.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Cool.
I really like this pick, Eric.
Nice.
For sure. Okay, so that's moving on to me, right?
You're right.
Okay, so I think the first one, which one do I want to talk about? All right, I think I'm going to go with Baron Zen. I think that's the one that I'm going to talk about first. So Baron Zen is an artist that I learned about watching the documentary on Stone's Throw Records called Our Vinyl Weighs a Ton, which I think I've mentioned on this podcast before. Record label that's owned by Chris Manick, who goes by the name Peanut Butter Wolf. And he's big in the underground sort of hip-hop scene. And anyway, he he was, I guess, growing up, he was the neighbor of the guy who's behind Baron Zen, who goes by the name Sweet Steve. And he is, I guess, now a grammar teacher. It mentioned that in the documentary, so a little bit of useless information there. But anyway, this album is called At the Mall, and I think it was released around 2006. And it's really lo-fi, and the reason why that is I guess that it was recorded in his bedroom in like the 90s or something. And after Jay Dilla passed away, who was kind of a mainstay on the Stone's Throw label, they kind of Stone's Throw, I guess Peanut Butter Wolf was kind of at a loss of what direction he wanted to take the label. And so he asked his old childhood friend Steve to if he could just put out this tape that he made, this weird tape he made in the 90s. And this came out on like essentially Stone's Throw was pretty much a hip-hop label at the time. So a lot of people were just kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, because it totally didn't make sense when you put it in the context of what Stone's Throw was putting out at the time. This is also the label that put out, I think 2 years previously, put out the Mad Villain album.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of the like people on the label were just kind of confused, but it also, when you actually like watch that documentary and you kind of go back and you do the research on Chris Manick and Peanut Butter Wolf and his musical history, it actually makes sense when you put it in that context. Because that, I mean, Chris Manick is just a nut when it comes to like music. He was on an episode of What's in My Bag, and I think he had like I think he walked out with like crates and crates full of records.
Wow.
And I mean, he just like, he's into everything. He used to play in like a new wave band that I think he described was supposed to be like Joy Division. Like, and then after that, he ended up going into hip hop and DJing and stuff like that. But anyway, so this project, Baron Zen with Sweet Steve, it's just basically 14 songs of just lo-fi goofiness. But in my opinion, in sort of the best possible way. It has parts that remind me of, something like Ween or something like Beck, like early Beck. But then there's also some like punk rock stuff that could resemble even like something like a new wave, like Joy Division or something like that. But generally the lyrics are just really stupid. And also kind of funny. Like there's this song called Fucking Bored where he's just like singing about being bored over and over again. The one that cracks me up is when it's called Night in Jail. And he's like singing about spending the night in jail and got to get rid of Rick. I mean, this is all just, if you're into just like really goofy, like funny, lo-fi type stuff, you know, Ween, Daniel Johnston, outsider music kind of. I wouldn't particularly call it experimental or avant-garde or anything like that, but definitely lo-fi, and I would definitely say that it appeals to a certain type of listener, and that listener just happens to be me because I'm into this kind of stuff. Now, I would also like to say I don't listen to this record all the time or anything, but sometimes I just want to, you know, hear something that just doesn't take a lot of thought to get into. And you can just tell that it basically just sounds like he was having fun on a 4-track in his bedroom with a drum machine and a guitar. And he also does a really hilarious cover of Walking on Sunshine. So yeah, what do you think of this, Eric?
Yeah, I liked it. Okay. So I'll say that it is very outsiderish, and honestly, if you like that, then you're gonna love this. Like,
right,
100%. The things that I thought it sounded like that I had written down were Dead Milkmen, vocally especially.
Oh yeah, that's a really good comparison.
Ween / Moist Boys, maybe even leaning harder towards Moist Boys.
I could see that.
Daniel Johnston, Men's Recovery Project. I actually had Boris the Sprinkler on there too. But mostly it reminded me of 2 local artists. Well, sort of local. The Bastard, who used to live in Iowa City, Dan Butler's his real name.
Yeah.
I think he lives in Texas now. It really reminded me of The Bastard. And if you want to check out The Bastard, that's BASSTURD, like bastard.
Sure.
And actually, there used to be this group from the Quad Cities. I literally do not remember how I got the tape. This was back in the 90s. But they were called Bloody Nose. And it just straight up reminded me exactly of that. I don't know if anyone else even ever heard that band except Chuck. You know Chuck, the worst person.
Oh yeah, Chuck, yes.
But
the really bad dude.
Yeah, he heard that too. But so all of those things, and if you like those things, you're gonna like this. It's very dumb and fun and poorly executed, but at the same time accomplishes exactly what it wants to do, and that counts for something, you know. I think that in my younger days, I would have really loved this. I would have quoted the shit out of it. I would have sang these songs walking down the hall in high school, so people would be like, "What are you singing?" And I'd be like, "Baron Zen, dude," you know, and like,
yeah.
And like I would have sang "I Love Shoes" the entirety of my high school career. So I don't think it's something I would listen to very often now, but it definitely has its place. And if you're into that stuff, awesome. And this may just have been me getting used to it, but it actually seemed to get a little more coherent as it went on. Maybe that's not accurate. Maybe I just got used to it. But at the very first song, I was like, oh, God, what are we doing? And then by the end, I was like, this is pretty good. I like this. This is fun. So, but yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun, and definitely if that's your thing, that you need to know about this too. So,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, and one of the things that interested me more than anything about it is the fact that, because I totally agree with you. I think that I would probably like this even more if I was 18 years old, you know,
right.
15 years old or whatever, you know, and but that's what's interesting about it is it allegedly was recorded when he was that age. Mm-hmm. And then his friend Chris Manick, who happened to own this big hip hop label, decided, oh, hey, can I just put out this weird thing you did 15 years ago?
And that's hilarious. I didn't know that. So
yeah, that's
just wild.
I strongly recommend you, Eric, and our listeners, if any of you out there who hadn't seen it, check out that documentary, Our Vinyl Weighs a Ton. It's a very, very good documentary.
Yeah, I will.
I think you would really enjoy it, Eric.
Nice. Cool.
And the part that specifically talks about Baron ZEN is pretty funny.
Nice.
So, but yeah, cool. All right. So, what do you got, Eric?
Yeah, so my second choice was a record that came out in 2017, and I listened to it. I listened to it when it came out a couple times, and then I sort of forgot about it. And then my wife and I were watching a show. I don't remember what it was, but the end credits, they used one of the songs off this, and I was like, oh shit, I remember that. I forgot all about it. So anyway, the artist is Jane Weaver. The record's called Modern Cosmology. I guess just from the jump, I have to say I love this. This is, like, honestly, with all sincerity and with trying to avoid my normal amount of hyperbole, I think everyone listening to this would enjoy at least some aspect of this record. And I'm not just saying that. It's really cool. Her voice is really, really nice. It's high. It's sort of soft, wispy. I thought of a few people that I thought it sort of sounded like. Susie Sue, Julie Cruz, Debbie Harry at times. But just a really nice voice with this sort of soft, understated power to it. Overall, the music, I would say, is pretty synth heavy. I would say her voice and the synths are sort of the anchors, because the songs themselves go a lot of places, a lot of different places. It's very krautrockish, but it's very pop. I hear a lot of Kraftwerk, but also Velvet Underground, a lot of 60s psych, garage stuff, even a little bit, the Sonics or things like that. There's a lot of influences here: jazz, rock, garage rock, synth stuff. I don't think it ever goes fully into techno, but I would say also that listeners would not be wrong to think that there's a similarity between Jane Weaver and, say, like Broadcast or The Knife or even Chromatics, which I've mentioned before on the show. But I think that's only circumstantial. I think it's only because of the synth and the voice that it seems that way. Anyway, the songs are amazingly well-written songs. They're like legit good, even without all the production and synthesizers and interesting music happening. These songs would be great. All the playing on it is amazing too. The drums, the guitars, all cool tones, all really well done. I think that if you haven't heard this and you haven't picked a summer record for yourself yet, make this the record, because it's a lot of fun. It has a nice feeling about it. I don't think it's dark, which is odd for me not to choose something with at least some level of darkness. But yeah, the next time you're driving, try sometime this week when it's nice out, roll the windows down and put this on. I think you really will enjoy it a lot. So yeah, what'd you think, Dan?
Man, I love this. This is perhaps up there with one of my favorite releases you've ever picked.
Wow, cool.
I honestly, I've listened to it 3 times, and I plan on listening to it possibly since we're talking about it after we get done recording
Nice.
this again. Because, man, there's so much going on, but then also, like you said, it's also like almost deceptively simple in that it's not simple, like at all. I think the songs, it would be very difficult to achieve this level of brilliance. But like it, like you said, they're almost like pop songs, like, or they, in some cases they are. The first track, which, HAK, it starts off with just sort of this like drony synth kind of with her singing over it. And it's like, that's kind of the impression that I got that the rest of the album was going to be like.
Right.
And then before you know it, it's like, it sounds like Berlin, like that song, what is it? Riding on the Metro,
the Metro
or something.
Yeah,
like
sure.
the Metro, like it has like, it almost goes into like an 80s, like sort of new wave thing. But then there's also elements of like kind of almost, like you said, psychedelic. I definitely heard the krautrock influence for sure. Like I hear a lot of like kind of Can going on, and also like almost like a touch of like something like ABBA or something kind of going on.
I can hear
too.
that.
Like in a weird sort of way. I mean, but it's just, it's fantastic from beginning to end. I just think that this was a 5 out of 5.
Yeah. Nice.
And it made me want to go back and check out the rest of the Jane Weaver stuff, which I haven't.
Right.
Yet,
I haven't either. So yeah.
I made a list on Spotify, like already, like going back, and I plan on checking out her entire discography.
Yeah.
I hope it's as amazing as this.
I do too.
And I'm sure
Yeah.
it probably will be, but in particular, I love the title track, and my favorite song, I think, was probably Slow Motion.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
My gosh.
Yeah, it's maybe the perfect pop song. Like, it's
absolutely.
so good.
And that's where I feel like the album kind of starts to change form a little bit too. Like the first 3 tracks are kind of like the first track is almost experimental in a way, and like there's almost like no melody with the music, but her voice makes the melody.
Yeah, for sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then like, and it's also very minimalist. And then it's almost like a puzzle. They keep adding pieces, like sonically, and musically.
Because even the second song, Did You See Butterflies? That's the one that was on that TV show that I saw, and it's a cool song. Like if the if the vocals were delivered over a vocoder, it could be a Black Moth Super Rainbow song. Like it moves. It's so psychedelic and so synthy. It's amazing. Sorry to interrupt.
I also no, that's okay. I also really enjoyed the last 2 songs, Raven's Point and I Wish.
Oh my God, when Raven's Point hits, I'm not going to spoil this, but when that song comes on, you're going to get chills when it starts. Like it is a shocking moment on the album. And it's just gorgeous. Yeah.
It's incredible, man. Yeah, this right here, man. High five through the computer screen right here, Eric.
Awesome. Yeah.
I mean, this is fantastic.
Cool.
So Jane Weaver, I mean, even if this is the only good album, which I seriously doubt that's the case.
Yeah.
Seriously doubt it. But even if it is, I'm a Jane Weaver fan just based on this album.
Yeah, it really is something. I'm glad that that TV show, which I can't remember, decided to use it in the credits.
The Ninja Turtles?
I think it was Secret of the Ooze, part 2.
Number 2, when they were fighting each other with cold cuts.
Yep, that's what it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that was it. Did you see?
Thought I recognized it from somewhere.
Well, I think she co-produced Ninja Rap with Vanilla Ice. So.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
Jane Weaver.
Yeah.
So makes me that right there. Okay, so when I said that I was a Jane Weaver fan based on the fact that she made this album, no, it's based on the fact that she co-wrote Ninja Rap.
It's based on a lie that I made up about the Ninja Turtles.
That's exactly it. And I don't know, Jane Weaver, if you're listening to this, we're just joking.
I mean, who wouldn't want that credit, though? I mean, shit.
That's
Ninja
true.
Rap?
That's true.
It's a great song.
Ninja.
Go Ninja.
Rap. Go Ninja. I do really like that beat. Doot, doot, doot.
It is kind of a hot song, actually.
No, it really is. I mean, actually, I might get a lot of flack for this, and this in no way represents the opinion of the entire Accelerativ Thrust crew. You might agree with me. It might be a hard disagree, but I think Vanilla Ice was a good rapper. Now, Ice Ice Baby, man.
Yeah,
there's a line in there. If rhyme was a drug, I'd sell it by the gram.
Pretty good.
And I think before that he said other DJs say damn.
Damn. Yeah. This is gonna sound like a cop out, but I don't have an opinion. I don't know. It's fine. Sure. It's fine rapping.
Well,
I mean, it's,
I'm also talking from the perspective of like 10-year-old Dan too, like, because that was like To the Extreme was one of the first cassettes I ever owned.
Yeah.
I think probably that and I don't know, Totally Crossed Out by Chris Cross.
Nice.
Or something like that.
Nice.
And he's the DJ, I'm the rapper, which by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Which has one of the earliest horror rap songs.
Yes, horrorcore, Nightmare on My Street.
Yeah, it's a great beat.
Excellent beat. Yeah. And yes, I don't think there would be a Gravediggers, an Insane Clown Posse, and I'm not joking.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone had mixed. Well, what about shoot. I was trying to think. Somebody else I thought had kind of scary stuff. The Ghetto Boys.
Yeah, Ghetto Boys.
But I guess that probably came out after. I don't know though, for sure.
Yeah, I would say they are more like, I guess. Yeah, I don't remember when that first Ghetto Boys record came out. I don't know if it came out before that or not. I don't think so. I think DJ Jazzy Jeff is probably the first.
That's awesome.
I mean, for real.
I also think it's awesome that they got a fake Freddy to do like a voiceover, right?
Yeah, that was
Doesn't
great.
he come on
that
and say,
great.
"You've got the body, I've got the brain."
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
That record is really awesome. Like DJ Jazzy Jeff, a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, they were like that existed in a time when like all rap music was. There was like a unifying thing. Like Public Enemy went on tour with DJ Jazzy Jeff and like Erik B and Rakim and the Beastie Boys, which don't forget that at that time Beastie Boys were also opening up for Madonna. Yeah. So it's crazy when you think about that because like today, I don't think that would happen. Like, I mean, it's completely different now, but if there, I don't know, like is there even really kid-friendly rap anymore?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I don't really know. I would have said Lil Nas X until he came out with those Satan shoes.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, and then that completely like ruined his kid-friendly image.
Yeah, I love Satan. I hope my mom's not listening to this episode. But man, I just love the devil. He's the best.
Doesn't matter because we just named the episode. I love the devil.
Well, yeah, cat's out of the bag now, I guess.
It's yeah. See, I guess I'm lucky in that sense, in that my dad never uses the internet, so he doesn't. I tell him, hey, I'm going to be in my room recording a podcast.
I thought you were going to say I'm lucky because my dad is also a huge Satanist. I don't have to worry about that.
I've wondered. He does spend a lot of time in the basement, so who knows?
That's the checklist for parents. Is your child a Satanist? Number 1, are they in the basement a lot?
Yeah, that's like. Do you remember when there was I don't know, you probably, because you would have still been in high school, I think. Do you remember when there was like a big gang problem in Muscatine?
Very much so, yes.
Okay, I remember like every day there was like an article about signs that your teenager could be a gangster. And I always wanted to write those articles and I wanted to describe like Al Capone or something.
Yeah, is your kid a
You know,
gangster? Does he drive a 40s Buick?
is he wearing a pork pie hat?
Does he have a pinstripe suit and a Tommy gun?
Does he wear really nice shoes? Does he eat at Italian restaurants? God.
Yeah, your kid is definitely a gangster.
Your kid is a gangster. More specifically, a TV gangster. They're the worst.
Does your kid say "see" a lot?
Does your kid not like the way your kid doesn't like the way he's looking at you?
Does he have a cigar in his mouth like all the time?
Yeah, all the time. Does he drink sometimes?
Does he hang out at speakeasies?
How often does he swear? Oh, they're such speakeasies. I love that term, speakeasy.
Yeah,
man.
That's a nice one.
That would be a great rap name too. Speakeasy.
Well, I mean, that's you.
Well, no, that's not me. Mine is Dan the Ruler.
Oh, well, damn. All right.
Damn the Ruler.
Damn the Ruler. Yeah,
Damn the Ruler.
That. Yeah.
So what's your rap name, Eric? Because we're a duo.
Oh shit! So it's got to be
Old man.
It's got to sound good with Dan the Ruler, right?
Yeah, Dan the Ruler. You know,
How
like
about,
Method Man and Redman.
E-Dubs the Drooler.
E-Dubs the Drooler. Oh man, that sounds great.
How about how about Druid Force Field?
Druid Force Field.
Sure. You know, like like a force field that a druid would have around themselves, a magic, mystical kind of force field. I'm imagining kind of neon green colored force field.
And that's going to be your costume you wear, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to have
like a neon
robe,
green force field.
A black robe with a force field around it.
You're going to go up there and yell at people?
Yeah, and I'm going to be a hologram. So that'll be cool.
The name of the album should be Sorry Mama, but your son's a gangster.
Sorry, Mom, I love Satan. By Druid Force Field.
Druid Force Field. That is a wonderful name.
Thanks. Yeah,
Druid Force
I just
Field.
came up with it.
So Dan the Ruler and Druid Force Field. The name of the project should be
I'm into it.
Druid Ruler or Force Field Ruler.
Drooler.
Drooler. There we go. Drooler.
Yeah, the Droolers.
So I'm going to hold you to it, Eric. That's going to be the real project.
All right. Okay. I can't rap.
Well,
I mean, so that kind of will probably suck.
Well, we could look and see if there's any classes.
Oh, well. Yeah, rap class.
I'd attend a rap class with you. So
I think I'm going to skip rap class tonight. I'm just tired.
They're like sending a note to your wife, and your wife's like, "Why did you skip rap class, Eric?" Like you get
my
grounded.
teachers get a hold of my wife. I love that. Oh my God.
Rap class, and that could actually be also the name of the album is Rap Class.
All right, and then
I like that.
And then we'll just present it as a rap class.
And the teacher's got to be like MC something or another. You know, like we got to make a name for the teacher, like MC Mr. Kitchen.
Let's do all this off the air, so we can have a fully formed project ready to go.
So, guys, if you're interested in any bonus content, let us know. And our first bonus content will be talking about rap class.
Yeah, you could. Bonus content is a half an hour of us just talking about Dan the Ruler and Druid Force Field.
Druid Force Field. Druid Force Field. I like that. Okay, so
speaking of rap,
yes, kind of in a sort of way, and in a way they kind of were studying rap actually. The second record that I picked was from this group called the BUMBLEBEEZ, which is now I'm reading off of Wikipedia, so it is an Australian indie band. formed by Christopher Colonna and his sister Pia Colonna, a.k.a. Queen Vila. So they're a brother and sister duo. And from what I remember from this group is when this album came out, it's called The Prince, is I remember seeing like one of those like MTV like Discovery news bits where they were talking about like, you know, under the radar groups or something like that. And this was one of them. And what I seem to remember, and it's kind of hard to find a lot of info on this group, but it was a brother and sister duo from Australia, and they recorded this album basically in their bedroom. And when I was joking about how they were studying rap, there's actually a picture on the inside physical copy of the CD that actually shows the sister, Queen Vila, and she's like looking at like a copy of the, I think it's called like the Book of Rhyme or something, or the Rhyming Dictionary. Mm-hmm. So they actually made like a rhyming dictionary, which was supposed to help rappers, I guess, or aspiring rappers. But yeah, I really like this album. It's very interesting. It's definitely heavily sampled based. I do think that it's kind of a record of its time, which it came out in, I think, like 2003 or something like that, like early 2000s. But there's a lot of experimentation with, like, I would call it basically like collage rock with a little bit of like cut and paste sort of hip hop. Queen Vila is the one that does most of the rapping, so it's like female rap. But there's also a lot of kind of noisy guitars and just sort of cut and paste sampling production. And it's just a really interesting album to, you know, listen to, I think. And I still think it kind of holds up, you know, pretty well today from when I first heard it. Parts of it kind of remind me a little bit of something like we talked about that record Len by Len, Yo Bum Rush the Show. Parts of it remind me of that, but not, it's definitely a little bit more sort of out there than the Len record, and also maybe a little bit more unfocused. And I think a lot of that is kind of intentionally. It just kind of sounds, actually, this almost sounds like the same concept as Baron Zen, but in a much different way, where it just sounds like people kind of having fun recording stuff in their bedroom. This one maybe sounds like they're kind of, you know, just having fun with different like noises and things like that. You know, like the first track is basically just a repetition of a bass line and a little bit of screaming and distorted vocals. The second track, there's like kind of this like, it sounds like an out-of-tuned acoustic guitar with some drum machine going on and just some kind of odd vocals. I mean, I would say that if you're into stuff like, you know, early Beck, like Mellow Gold, Odelay era, you know, Dust Brothers type stuff, Beastie Boys, this is kind of the record for you. It, you know, it's not something that I listen to every day, kind of like Baron Zen, but, you know, once in a while when I'm just kind of in the mood for something that is just kind of I feel like a diamond in the rough, because I don't think they ever put any other records out. If they did, I don't know about them. And they just kind of came and went. I remember the track Pony Ride was kind of a minor hit on MTV2 back in the day. And other than that, though, you know, this project is an entire mystery to me, and that's maybe part of why I like it. What did you think, Eric?
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I honestly thought, and I hate to reference the same band twice in an episode, especially when I don't think we've ever referenced them before, but this was sort of like a combination of Atari Teenage Riot and Brand Van 3000 to me. Like, it really reminded me of Brand Van a lot. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's hip-hop-esque, but I don't think it's just straight hip-hop by any means. There's a lot of jangly guitars. There's a lot of pop stuff. also reminded me of Beck and Lynn, but also like elements of Gorillaz, even soul coughing with some of the sample choices.
Absolutely.
It's really good stuff. It's enjoyable, energetic. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I don't have a ton to add to what you said. It just is what it is. It's like indie collage hip hop, and it's great. And yeah, Bambino is an amazing track. It was one of the best tracks I've heard in a long time. So I really like that, and I like the whole thing. So yeah, sorry, I don't have a ton to add to that, but I really did enjoy it. So
no, yeah, and there really, I mean, there really isn't much to say about it. It's just such an amazing record, and I just think like it's kind of a shame that they, didn't release anything else. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's perfect that they didn't release anything else. Or maybe they did and I just don't know about it.
Could be.
And I'm not supposed to know about it because the universe is saying no, stay away from it. You never know.
Maybe.
You never know with stuff like that. Len put out a couple of records after Yo Bum Rush the Show.
Yeah. Are they any good?
Nah, they seem a lot more basic than that record. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like there was one track that had like a really cool synth line, but it sounded like they were kind of going back to a basic sort of song structure thing, which they started out as an indie rock band, like literally like a 2-piece guitar and drum band. And then they put out Yo Bum Rush the Show for some reason. But it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
absolutely is.
It's like, it's the same thing with this BUMBLEBEEZ. Like, there's like sort of these just weird records that kind of just are one-shot records almost, I feel, that, and that's what they're supposed to be,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that that's kind of this case. I think maybe if I actually have never heard Brand Van 3000.
Oh, snap. Really?
So that's something I'm going to have to check. But
yeah, you'll love it. I mean,
yeah, I've been told they were on Grand Royal, the Beastie Boys label.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, I've been told that I would love Brand Van 3000.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, that's a stone cold classic in my life right there. Just
I'll have to check that out. I might look for it right after we get done recording.
Nice.
So all right. So that brings us to the local review.
Yeah, the local review, which we have advanced copies of. It's not out yet. But hopefully sometime soon it will be. So
absolutely.
From the artwork that was given to me, I didn't see a title necessarily for this release. Did you notice a title, Dan, in what I sent you?
No.
Okay.
No, all I see is Death Kill Overdrive.
Yep. So the group is Death Kill Overdrive. They used to be the Starry Nights. I don't know why the name changed. I'm sure there's just some reason, or maybe they just wanted a different name. I don't know. But if we talk to any members of the group sometime in the future, maybe we'll ask. So yeah, Death Kill Overdrive used to be the Starry Nights. It has some really cool people in it. I don't know Molly very well, and I don't know Oliver all that well, and I know Kane somewhat well, and I know Jeff pretty darn well. And so they're all great people. I would say that this record is very squarely in what I would call melodic punk. I don't necessarily want to say pop punk because I don't think there's anything wrong with the term pop punk. I just think it brings certain things to mind that I think this kind of transcends. Because it has everything that makes fast melodic punk good. It's super catchy. It's super fun. The melodies are great. The vocal harmonies are amazing. It's very goofy and funny, but also dark. And I think that's something that I personally love. If you can pull off dark and humorous, oh, you got me. And it seems that a lot of the tracks are possibly about cats. I've heard numerous mentions of cats in there. But what really stands out in this is the playing. I think everyone did such a nice job. It's super tight. Like I said, Jeff is a good friend of mine. He's easily the most inspirational person I know. He's like a coach. I wish I could have him as my life coach. He's just wonderful. But his playing on here is the best I've ever heard him recorded. Absolutely. And I've had the pleasure of standing next to his drum set while he plays. We were in the Mouth of Radness together, and it's a sight to behold to watch Jeff play the drums. And this is the kind of the first time I've heard his drums sound like they capture the energy of what he plays like. But everyone else on this is great. I think that Kane does the majority of the vocals. I didn't verify that, but I think that's how it works. And everyone else is credited with vocals as well, so I think they add harmonies and extra parts and things like that. But yeah, it's just an all-around extraordinarily, almost painfully fun record. Like, you can't put this on and stay in a bad mood at all. I tried and it didn't work. So anyway, yeah, just overall super good. It was recorded at Flat Black here in Iowa City area. The artwork is by Oliver's partner Juliet, and it's amazing. It's all the band members' pets in a pickup truck flying through space, and it's it only kind of exemplifies how fun and irreverent and just great the record is. But yeah, above all, I want to say that it's just so catchy, amazing melodies, amazing riffs, and I just overall had a super great time listening to it. So what do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I love this. This I definitely see what you're saying about not being kind of hesitant about wanting to call it pop punk. I think that's what it is, but I think it's good pop punk. I think there's good pop punk and there's bad pop punk, and that's that's an opinion thing. I think this definitely falls under the realm of bands that do this style that like you said, they touch on dark subject matter, and it seems like kind of maybe autobiographical in some ways. But and I could be wrong about that. I don't really know, but like I really like some of the lyrics, and like you said, I think it is Kane that does most of the vocals, but there's like that one track where they're singing about like a spaceship, and there's like these it's just really fun, and it puts me in mind of Descendants, maybe like Screeching Weasel, but also it gets me nostalgic listening to it in a way, and I don't want to make it sound like, because I don't think they're a throwback band by any stretch of the imagination. But it also really reminds me of the early Green Day records a lot, especially like Kerplunk and like 39 Smooth, the first two records. It's just really catchy. Like, I love that first track, Sex on the Beach. That is like so good and so well written, and just musically, and Kane is just such a great singer. I don't know, I know Kane, fairly well. I've met them a couple of times. I don't know Oliver or Molly at all, and I know Jeff pretty well. Like, not as good as you. I know you played in a band with him, and it's just absolutely incredible. I really enjoyed it. It's there's not much more I can say about it other than exactly what you said. A fun, poppy yet very, kind of dark record that I think that sometimes we just need to hear this kind of stuff.
For sure.
And So yeah, and also I think that the cover of Life is a Highway is fantastic
Yeah, I
as
forgot
well.
about that.
I thought that was
Yeah.
I thought that was really, really funny and really fun, and just adds to the funness of the
and it was
record.
really well done too. I don't think they were
very
taking
well
the piss
done.
out of it at all. I think that they went for it, and it's awesome. So
Absolutely. Death Kill Overdrive. Good.
Yeah.
Great job. Great job. Yeah, there's not much more I can say about it. Like I said, it put me in kind of that nostalgic mood because it kind of just reminded me of some of the music I used to listen to.
Yeah.
But I think it's done really well, and I've already listened to it probably at least 10 times in my van.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
and I'm probably going to keep listening to it. So
yeah, it's super fun to have on. So yeah, everyone should check it out whenever they get the chance.
Absolutely. And if you want a copy of it, just wait.
Yeah,
Because it'll be worth the wait.
for sure.
It'll be worth the wait.
Yeah.
For sure. I think it's coming out fairly soon though.
I do think
that's
so.
kind of the impression.
Yeah.
That's the impression I'm kind of getting
Right.
because I've been seeing some updates on
Yep.
both Kane and Jeff's Facebook and Instagrams.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm excited. I actually, I may end up, even though I've got the advanced copy, I may purchase like, a physical copy if they ever put, I don't know what they're planning on
Yeah, I
doing.
don't know
Are they
either.
putting it out on vinyl or cassette? If there's a cassette of this, I'll probably buy the
Oh,
cassette.
for sure. Me too.
So it's absolutely
Yep.
fantastic.
Great
so
stuff.
that moves on to the next record we're going to review, which is a new record from this group called the Derek and Ian Experience.
Jesus. Yeah.
No, not Jesus. Anyway. Oh, yes.
There is not
one of
another
my
record review, guys. Don't give up on us right now.
Yeah, no. Don't undownload
Yeah, right.
things because of
Don't
Dan's bad
don't
humor.
upload it back.
Yeah, upload it back. I wonder if you can do that.
I'm sure that somebody that's listened to us has tried.
Yeah, they're just like, I got to learn how to hack into this account somehow and just
Yeah.
make it stop.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
geez.
boy.
So what's the takeaway from this episode, Eric?
Oh, geez, I don't know. I would honestly say that my takeaway from this episode is that sometimes I need to remember that music can be fun. Doesn't always have to be so damn serious. That's what I would take away.
You say that every episode.
know.
It's true though. It's so true. Like, it's so easy to like get stuck into like serious music, and then you realize that hey, actually, there is stuff out there that can make me feel good.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Like DIVTECH.
We both, dude. Yeah, DIVTECH.
I don't think that's going to put you in a positive mood, but it's still very fun.
not really.
In its own way.
It is. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. I thought about while I was listening to it if I could ever play in a band
my
like
gosh.
that or a group or a project like that. Man, and I tried being in like a really fast hardcore band for a minute. Like, it amazes me. Like, I applaud Closet Witch for being able to do it because it's so difficult for me to play that style.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Whether it's playing the guitar or screaming.
Oh, I can't do it. Every band I'm in, and this is not an exaggeration, I seriously say, can it be a little slower and maybe just a little more like ambient? No matter what kind of music it is, I want it to be slower and twangier.
Well,
I don't know.
I like the way you're doing the fast grindy parts, but could I do this spaghetti western thing over it?
Not that far from reality. I'm totally serious.
You mind if I make this? I could totally see
when
that.
if you have me in your band, you're getting the one sound. That's it.
You're getting an ambient.
You better know
spaghetti
what
western.
you're getting into.
Like Converge asks you to be like the replacement guitarist or
they
something.
Just get twang. That's all I got going.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, well, that's for me. You're probably just gonna get like garage punk,
Yeah,
or whatever,
right?
whatever my style is. But anyway, folks, you can still definitely follow us on the social medias. We got Facebook, we got Instagram.
Yeah, I have
at Dan.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say at Dan_the_ruler and at Old Man Erie. What was that?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that my name is now Erie_Erik_Whitaker.
Oh, really?
Instagram.
You changed it?
Well, I wanted my name to be a little bit easier to find, because I'm actually, I guess, probably when this airs, I'll just do it then. I have a music video coming out, so yeah,
cool.
watch my Insta for that. I'll try to make it this Thursday, but I think it's a cool video. It was directed by Tyler and Jay from Mustard in Law, and it's pretty cool. So anyway,
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Super excited.
Do you
for
also
that.
want to tell the folks what's coming up on the next episode?
The John Burns from Centaur Noir is going to be our guest.
Yeah. So we'll talk.
It's going to be awesome.
Totally. Tubular.
Totally awesome,
Yeah,
man.
it's going to be sick and also gnarly. So get ready.
Cowabunga, dudes.
Yep. Tune into the next sick, nasty episode of Accelerativ Thrust.
Whoa, dude.
Jesus. Now we're just doing like stoner surfer impressions. God.
I think we should change our voices to this for the whole
I think we
podcast,
should end
dude.
the episode.
All right, dudes. Carry on, bros.
Yeah, all right, dudes.
All right. You guys have a good night, good week, or whatever it is when you're listening, okay?
Bye.
Bye.